The man who put me down off that side. A year ago, almost a day. Thank you.
More Hearts of Gold next week. Until then, good night.
BBC1 presents a new series for the daytime, an exciting 4-hour magazine that combines your news and views with all the famous faces, the latest in video releases, children's programs, the news of the day, and an exciting new quiz game. There'll be lots of your happy memories, new recipes, and lively debate from all over the country. With Alan Titchmarsh and Judy Spires in Birmingham, Adrian Mills and Debbie Jones in Manchester, we'll be coast to coast every weekday morning in Daytime UK.
And we have a new series now on One. Carol Vorderman looks at some of the problems people can have with maths and how to solve them. Some chance.
The rest of you, get out your books.
Arithmetic exercises. I mean, they really prepare you for the outside world, don't they, arithmetic exercises? I mean, what kind of a world is it where 5 men are constantly digging ditches? Or filling a 50-gallon bath with a tap that drips every 3 seconds? Or dealing out hundreds of apples to awkward numbers of people? I mean, you see it every day in the street, don't you? Oi, get your own apples, these are mine. And get that 50-gallon bath out of my garden. I've got to divide the lawn up into 9 separate compartments and put a pig in each one.
Excuse me, could you tell me which of these pictures best describes how you felt studying maths at school? The monkey. Why?
Because I was useless at it. I get to the point.
The rock climber, why is that?
I hate maths.
Maths, you know.
I'm useless at it.
A lack of skill with numbers is stifling the ambitions of 6 million people in this country, and they're just the ones who admit to it. Over the next couple of months, I reckon I can convince you that skill with numbers can, well, let's face it, can change your life. And the first step is to phone the special helpline here.
More of this impossible to forget number later on. First, why is it that people hate maths so much?
You began to get a block, a mental block. You got it fixed in your mind. You couldn't do maths. And that's it. And I never could.
My memories of maths in school in the classroom was lined up in the classroom, the teacher telling you exactly what to do.
I loved maths. I asked for my first maths book when I was just 3 years old.
I did. I thought it was fantastic.
Yes, thank you, Carol. That'll do. Carol, thank you.
I adore it.
I've always lived in Edinburgh. I went to school here, and then hopefully I would love to come back and teach here. I need maths to go to teaching college. I don't get O-level maths, and teaching college won't accept me to do primary school teaching. I didn't like maths at school. I didn't like sports and games at school. You get the choice now what you want to do. At school you didn't get the choice. You did what your gym teacher told you to do. Well, there's always one subject at school that you detest. I detested school full stop. It's a shame that it has to come when you're older to realise that you've missed out on all these years at school and you should have stuck in. It wasn't until I went down to teaching college to get their prospectus and they said, oh no, we couldn't possibly have you. You don't have O-grade maths. I'd love to go back and teach primary school children. This is my goal in life. If it means going back to college, then that's what I'm going to do.
A lady called Miss Howells taught us maths. In fact, she taught us everything. Very big lady, rather forbidding. And I can remember sitting at this table and having her leaning over my shoulder and literally breathing down my neck. And it made me terribly frightened because I couldn't get the 3s and the 5s the right way round. And even now, I'm never terribly at ease with figures, particularly 3s and 5s. Still the echoes of that terror that I felt.
Right. We will now spend a quiet, pleasant lesson considering some of the knottier problems presented by fractions and decimals. Or else.
I don't think I was good at maths at all at school. But once we went back to college and we got fractions, I said, oh no, I hate fractions. Oh no, don't give me fractions. But it's great because you're in a classroom, but you don't feel like you're in a classroom. Very more relaxed atmosphere. My maths teacher was absolutely wonderful. And he made maths so interesting.
I think the first thing I felt was intimidation. I always had felt intimidation with numbers anyway. And coming into a building to be tested or to be talked about at all about numbers felt really very, very intimidating. But after a while it seemed easier because I was actually asked what I could do. What do you want to do? That was a new thing for me, you know. What do you want to do?
If you'd like more information about where to get help with maths, why not ring this unique telephone number? You might also be especially interested to know that 800 is the total number of words in the vocabulary of a parrot called Prudel, who lives in Sussex. And not many people know that Australian batsmen particularly dread the number 87. They believe that because it's 13 short of 100, something very unlucky is bound to happen. Meanwhile...
Excuse me, I'm doing some market research. I wonder if you could just take a quick look at these pictures and tell me which one best describes how you felt about learning maths at school.
Learning maths?
Yeah. That one? The rock climber. Why that one?
Because it was hard.
In tests, 8 out of 10 people who expressed a preference said it was rock climbing that most reminded them of maths lessons at school.
That one, I think, because I would never get there.
Going back to study is a struggle. And there may even be the odd setback. But there's a huge contrast between learning as an adult and those awful memories of school.
What's that? Your Highness. Right. What size is it?
Outsize?
Smack size. A quiet, pleasant lift, considering fractions and decimals.
Good, and that was your maximum lift, 24. Now we'll take a quarter of that. This is a quarter of your maximum weight now, okay? This is for stamina training. That's it, take it round. That's it, and press it in.
I'm going to start off by the quarter of the weight that I can actually lift. So you do that for a couple of weeks, okay. So you feel quite comfortable with that. And then you think, right, I've done that. And then you move on to the next stage.
That's it.
The similarities between coming to the gym and my maths class is that you can work at your own pace. You don't need to worry about the person next to you. There's somebody here if you need help. Or if you don't want help, you just want to work away yourself, you know there's somebody there if you are stuck. It's exactly the same as my maths class. I'm going back to the same primary school that I went to do teaching, and I hope that I make it as enjoyable for them so that they will want to study and take in maths and not have the fear of maths as I did. Maths is nothing to be frightened of.
I think arithmetic exercises would be really useful if they taught you how to divide a restaurant bill up at £37.50 between 6 people. Bearing in mind, of course, that like 2 people didn't have the starter.
If you're the kind of person with no head for figures, ring us now on 0800 807 100.
Only kidding. Our helpline is much more user-friendly. In fact, it's the one number that could be the answer to all your problems with maths. So if you want to find out about groups and classes near you, get dialing. During the rest of the series, I'll be personally investigating one or two surprising things about numbers. And next week, I'll be getting to grips with King Kong to see why, mathematically speaking, he just doesn't add up. See you then.
He's so big!
You know, it really can't hurt to ring this special number. And remember, whether you're phoning from Belfast, Brighton or Balmoral, it's completely free. So go on, don't be bashful.
I love maths. I adore it. I like shapes and symbols and arithmetic and algebra.
Yes, thank you, Carol. That's quite enough. Goodbye.
Sunday evening on 1, after songs of praise from Gateshead, there's a drop more from the last of the summer wine.
You want 3 teas, 3 sticky buns, 1 kiss and a cuddle on the ass.
At 7:45, the plot thickens in Howard's Way.
Gerald, this is like a chess game. My father set up the board and every damn move has to be played out.
At 8:35, Family Business in Bread.
Hang on. Who's this next of kin? All of us.
At 9:20, Party Mayhem in Sticky Wickets.
I just don't believe this.
At 10:35,
Here in Boston earlier this year, 2 Christian Science parents were found guilty of the manslaughter of their son because they failed to call in medical care. Part of the matter examines their dilemma.
and this is the lineup for Sunday evening on BBC1.
A new series of the Money programme begins on BBC2 in about 10 minutes, with the first of 2 programmes focusing on the economic impact of the tensions in the Gulf. Tonight exploring the risks to the world's financial system and the damage to business here at home. On BBC1 now, it's 6:25, time for a summary of the latest news with Chris Lowe.
Edward Heath says the idea for his trip to Baghdad came from Douglas Hurd, the Foreign Secretary. Not true, says Mr. Hurd, speaking in Cairo. It was Mr. Heath's initiative. Israel says it will not cooperate with the UN mission to investigate the killing of 21 Palestinians in Jerusalem. And the Irish lift golf's World Cup in a sudden death playoff.